A very warm welcome to the top three qualifiers for the FIA Formula One Las Vegas Grand Prix. In third place, Pierre. In second place, Carlos Sainz, and taking his third pole position of the season and the fourth of his Formula One career, our pole sitter, George Russell. Very well done, George. It was a brilliant final lap. Just how satisfying is it to put together a lap like that around such a challenging racetrack?
Yeah, incredibly satisfying, and especially knowing the car's been so quick all weekend. You know, as a team, we've topped every single session, and nevertheless, when you get to Q3, you know what's happened beforehand has no influence whatsoever. So the pressure kind of is ramped up, and you know, it's a little bit touch and go for a moment because with the change to front wing, I wasn't sure if I was going to get the last lap, but then it was a super strong lap, especially the first two sectors. And just really, really pleased to secure the pole.
You asked to go late. You asked the team to go late. How much did the track ramp up during Q3?
Massively. I think probably between the very first car and the very last car who does their lap, it's probably over a tenth. It's probably the biggest track ramp of the whole season. So I wanted to put it all on the line. And, you know, it's high risk. I knew that if there were no yellow flags, then we would... You know, we had the possibility to be on the front row, but ultimately as well, you want to say thanks to the guys in the garage to get the front wing change so quick as well, because as I said, I touched the wall in the first run and we could have missed that last run altogether.
Now, George, this is your third pole position of the season so far, but it goes against the recent run of form. So can we discuss why? Why is the Mercedes so quick this weekend?
I'd love to tell you, to be honest. It's been a real surprise for all of us, and it's something we need to really review because this is an outlier circuit. We haven't done anything out of the ordinary specifically for Vegas, but for whatever reason, the conditions, the layout is playing in our favor, and I'm kind of scratching my head as to why. You know, we'll ride with it for the time being. But as I said, if you're quick in Vegas, it's a bit of a one-off circuit. So we need to understand. And of course, one of our other poles was in Canada as well, which was very cold, street circuit-esque too. So there's a small trend.
If you were to put it down to one thing, would you say it's temperatures?
No, to be honest. No, I think there's been no secret we've been struggling with a bit of understeer this season, and the track in Vegas, you're sliding around quite a lot, and maybe that's been a small factor that the understeer limitation has been less noticeable here. But there's certain corners where this car is performing so well, and especially in the first sector, the car feels absolutely on rails, especially through the third corner. And as I said, we need to nail down after the weekend and maybe even into the winter why it's been working so good.
All right, look, final one. What about the race then? How is the long run pace of the car?
Well, I think the long run for everybody's been very challenging on the medium and the soft. There's a lot of graining. We saw the same last year, but I expect the hard tyre to be very resilient. But not one single driver has run the hard tyre as yet this whole weekend, so you're going to be learning on the fly. It's going to be probably surviving that first stint and going from there. But, you know, here in Vegas, anything can happen. It's a long race. There was a timely safety car for a number of people last year, and we also saw that last race in Brazil. So, you know, right now I'm very happy, very satisfied, but I'm not taking anything for granted going into tomorrow.
All right, very well done today. Good luck tomorrow. Thank you, George. Carlos, let's come to you now. Great job as well by you. Unlike last year, you get to keep P2 on the grid. Just how good was the lap? How good was the car, first of all?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it must have been a good lap. My previous best lap time was a 32.7, so I went down 0.3 on that lap, and it felt good. I was pushing the limits. At one point, I thought I had pole position because I thought I was one of the last ones to cross the line. But then suddenly they told me George was coming, and I knew that the Mercedes had been quick all weekend. They've been a bit of a step ahead of us, especially on a single lap. And I knew at that point that, George could take it. No, they've been particularly quick in Sector 1. We're taking 3 or 4 tenths on them every single lap. And even if my lap from Sector 2 and 3 onwards is very good, it just looks like Sector 1, they've been a bit too strong for us. But tomorrow everything changes. Everyone will be running on grain tires, on high fuel, and very different situation as today. And it will be everything open again.
So George has just said that he's surprised by Mercedes' pace around here. Are you about where you were expecting to be?
Yeah, I think when you see our gap to McLaren and Red Bull, we out-qualified them and we were stronger than the 2 teams that we've been fighting recently. But suddenly there's been a new invite to the party, and it's been clearly George and Lewis all weekend topping the timesheet. So yeah, I think going into Quali, I knew they were probably going to be ahead. So yeah, to be only a tenth of George and on just next to him for the race is, I think, pretty much the maximum we could do today.
Carlos, let's throw it forward to the race then. Turn 1, first of all, was treacherous last year. A few people were turned around. Do you expect the same tomorrow?
Well, I think the race is not won or lost in turn 1. At the same time, I feel like this year there's more grip in turn 1 than there was last year. And so, yeah, let's see. The thing with Vegas is we might wake up tomorrow and the track might be completely dirty again like it was in FP3, and we're only doing laps to a grid, but we are not passing through turn 1. So no one's going to know what amount of grip is in turn 1. Hopefully I get a good start, and obviously I can get George into turn 1, but obviously at the same time there's so little grip and so many unknowns and so much possibility of overtaking around Vegas that it's also down to a very long race. So let's see.
So much possibility. Do you think you have the pace, the raw pace, to be faster than George tomorrow?
I think tomorrow we should have the pace to fight for the win. At the same time, there's too many unknowns to confirm or deny that. A lot of it will be graining limitation, who can control the graining better. But even if we might see some teams struggling a lot on medium tires, then the hard resets everything again because no one's run the hard. And we know that we are not the best team on hard tires this season. So, yeah, too many unknowns to tell, but I'm confident that we can fight for the win.
Okay, great job. Thank you very much. Now, Pierre, great to see you. I'm just thinking back to the Bahrain Grand Prix when you guys were on the back row of the grid, and here you are before the end of the season in the top 3. Just how satisfying is this moment for you, first of all?
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible, you know, as a team. Exactly as you mentioned, we started Bahrain on the last row with both cars, and all of a sudden the last few weeks have been quite a change. You know, I'm really happy and pleased with the work the team has been doing on a season where everything looked impossible, just to still stick together and put some more performance in that car. So going into qualifying today, I must admit we never thought we'll be in a position to actually get in that top 3. But yeah, I managed to have a very special lap at the right time on that last set in Q3, and yeah, it's a very nice surprise.
Pierre, the car has been much improved since you introduced the upgrade in Austin, but why do you think it's so effective here in Las Vegas?
I mean, we went with a pretty aggressive package in terms of downforce, so we're running very little downforce around this track, which we try, to maximize the straight lines. We obviously make our life slightly harder in the corners, but yeah, I think it's a challenging track. It's very cold conditions. It's quite an outlier in the season, but I had a nice feeling in the car since P1, P2 went well, P3 went well. And then in that Q3, we managed to make it work with only one set of new tire as well. So there was, definitely some good pace. And yeah, for now, I'm very pleased. Obviously, it's only qualifying, but I think it's probably the first time I qualify in the top 3, and it feels like it was a special one.
And you've out-qualified the top 4 in the World Championship. Do you think you can stay ahead of them in the race?
Well, at the minute, that's not really what I'm thinking about. I think we know where the target is for us. We fighting Haas and AlphaTauri in the constructor. Obviously, whatever happened in that quali is is amazing. It feels good to be in front of Max and McLaren and these guys. But at the end of the day, it's not our fight. So we'll give our best shot tomorrow. Exactly as Carlos said, it's a challenging one around here with the grading. So we'll make sure we do our homework tonight to maximize the chances tomorrow. But for sure, from P3 we increase our chances to get some good points.
All right, thank you for that. Right, let's open this to the floor if we have any questions. Yep.
Luke Smith from The Athletic. George, it's been a trend this season that Mercedes tends to be really, really quick on a Friday, but then struggles to gain more pace going through Saturday and Sunday. Did that leave you maybe a little bit sceptical after how strong yesterday was, whether you'd be able to carry that through into today? And what was the confirmation knowing that, hey, actually we are this quick?
Yeah, I'd say the trend that we've seen this season of being quicker, or let's say at the upper end of a time sheets, probably been down more to the fact that our rivals use a bit more fuel, probably not using their high power. Whenever our strategists have done the review, we normally end up qualifying where they predicted we'll be after practice. It's just when you see the timesheets, it's maybe a little bit more flattering. But this weekend, it was a slightly different again because the track was so different in FP1 and FP2. The lap times were probably 4 or 5 seconds quicker come qualifying. And it's a very challenging decision on a Thursday night when the car is working well. You don't want to touch it, but you know it's going to be totally different tomorrow, and you need to make some changes to follow the track improvement. So, yeah, as I said, we're still scratching our heads a little bit as to why, but it's been a great weekend so far.
Thank you, George. Any more? Yes, please. Yep.
Jesus Balseiro, Diarias, for Carlos. The cars you have surrounding you tomorrow haven't been fighting for wins recently, Mercedes and Alpine. So which cars or drivers do you think you'll be fighting for the win tomorrow? I mean, maybe McLaren and Max, who are behind?
No, I think we are genuinely fighting for the win with Mercedes tomorrow. They went through a run of winning, I think, 3 consecutive races in mid-season, and whenever they get it together, they are very, very fast, and the fastest, like they've shown today. So I think we're definitely going to fight George. I think Pierre, if he keeps these lap times, why not? And, of course, Charles behind in P4, and who is P5? Max?
Max.
Maybe with his higher downforce car can take a better care of the tires and the graining, and then suddenly he can get in the mix also. So I think we're fighting many cars, and I think that is the beauty of Formula One nowadays, is that we went into this qualifying with 4 teams being capable of taking pole position, 4 teams capable of winning tomorrow if you put everything together, and that's a great thing for F1, I think.
Thank you. Another one, please.